So you got the Tabs app and you found the chords to your first song. But all that is useless unless you know how to read the chords. Today, we're talking about chord diagrams. Most people want to be really good at playing lead guitar, but it's my belief that to be better at lead guitar, you should get better at playing rhythm guitar. And to do that, you need to know your chords. Chord diagrams are important because they show a player how to fret any specific chord. And the fastest way to learn new chords is to read the diagrams. So let's dive in and we'll break down the anatomy of and how to read chord diagrams. Chord diagrams, sometimes referred to as chord charts, are just an easy way to conceptualize how to play a chord without being shown the chord on an actual guitar. First, we need a line to represent the nut, so we'll throw that up there real quick, and we also need lines to represent each fret of the guitar. Most importantly, we need to see the strings, so we'll put a line over each and every string. Now we can separate that from the actual guitar, clean it up a little bit, and now we have your standard blank chord diagram. It's important to note that while this one uses the same thickness lines for strings, some of them may differ, like this one, where they use the same thickness lines, and others may use different colors. Some may not fill in the nut at the top. Just be aware that there are different looking diagrams. Moving on to what is probably the most important part of the diagram, finger placement. These are usually represented by dots like this. Each dot is usually labeled with a number to signify which finger you should use, pointer finger being number 1, middle finger number 2, ring number 3, pinky number 4. Occasionally you'll find a diagram with the T, which represents your thumb, meaning you'll wrap your thumb over the top of the fretboard to grab the low E string, but these are few and far between. The next thing we need to talk about are the X's and O's on top of the string. These are very important because they tell you whether or not to play the string. The O means play it even though you don't have any fingers on it. The X means do not play the string at all. A couple final things before we move on. The letter on top of the diagram is the name of the chord. In this case, it's the D chord. And the small letters under the diagram are the individual notes that each string is playing that make up the chord. So to play this chord, I'm going to go in order of fingers. I'm going to start with my first finger and put it on the 3rd string in the 2nd fret. Next, I'm going to put my middle finger on the high E string in the 2nd fret. And finally, I'm going to put my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. I'm going to skip the low E and the A string, and I'm going to strum the rest. And that's how the D chord sounds. Let's try with a different chord. For this one, I'm going to start with my pointer finger again and put it on the 3rd string in the 2nd fret. Next, my middle finger on the 4th string 2nd fret. And finally, my ring finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. I'm going to skip the low E string and strum everything else. There's one more kind of diagram we need to talk about, and it looks like this. You'll notice it's a little different because it has a 6 to the side, and the first finger goes all the way across the diagram. This is what's known as a bar chord, and the 6 means that we're going to be playing the first finger on the 6th fret of the guitar. The 1 going all the way across means that there's not going to be any open strings. The 1 is going to cover the A string and the highest E string, so your finger has to lay across the fretboard to cover both of those strings. To play it, I'm going to find the 6th fret, and then I'm going to put my pointer finger on the 6th fret of the A string and lay it across so that it covers all the strings. Next, I'm going to find the 8th fret and put my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger in the corresponding strings. Press everything down. Don't play the low E string, but strum everything else. And that is everything you need to know about chord diagrams. Thanks for watching, and if you want downloadable guitar lessons, check out my website, Ultra Studios, and stay tuned for the next video.